Welcome back to another episode of Millennials and Marriage, where we help couples go from surviving to thriving. And today's episode, we're going to do things a little bit different. Instead of my husband and I teaching and conversing together, I'm actually going to interview him. And today we're going to be talking about the topic of guilt and shame. And we're going to be pulling back the curtain a little bit. You know, I am going to be asking him some questions that most people that are dealing with things privately don't want to talk about publicly. I want to say that I definitely commend his authenticity and vulnerability and realness, because it takes a very strong person to, open up about some of these things. And the truth is, today's conversation is not about guilt. It's really about what God can do. And I think it's so important to bring light to darkness. And this is really a story of redemption. So with that being said, I think we'll just get right into the first question. And I don't take it lightly. You know, I was born to a single mom at 17 years old. And she told me, honey, you can have and be and do anything you want in this world. You just have to be willing to work hard for it.
You gotta know, you could always have more than you got now, because you could always become more than you are. And this is Millennials and Marriage.
And are you ready for this conversation today?
The truth is, as you were just saying all that, I'm like tearing up already, man. I'm like, because here's what they don't know. Obviously, for episodes we talk about what we're going to talk about, etc. But this is I think the first one.
I've got the questions today.
I have no idea what's about to happen. I don't know what you're going to ask me. And this topic is heavy, but it's needed, man. And here's the truth. I don't want to do this episode.
Really?
Emotionally, I'm not ready.
Okay.
But bring it on.
For the world you are?
Oh, yeah. I mean, whatever.
Because we don't have to do this yet.
We're here.
We're here.
Yeah.
We're rolling.
We're rolling. I'm ready.
And like I said, that's why I wanted to thank you
Yeah.
and commend you, because
Yeah.
it takes strength to be real. I think we're in such a world where it's easy to put on a show or put on a facade, and
I'm good at that.
want to pull back. Yeah, we both are.
Yeah.
So we want to really pull back the veil with the intention of helping people,
Okay.
making a difference. So
I can't make it about me. I got to make it about other men,
exactly.
people.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So first question for you is, let's actually talk about, what is the tipping point? What is the breaking point? Like, at what point did you get to where it was enough is enough? Like, I can't hold this heavy burden anymore. I can't hold the weight of the shame. There's so much guilt. I just got to come clean. Like, what is the tipping point, the breaking point? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people going through things that are just resisting. But eventually it just gets so loud you can't deny it.
That's a great question. For me specifically, when you think about Galatians 6, 7, 8, 9, where it talks about you reap what you sow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think today spiritual people call it karma.
Yeah.
The Bible calls it you reap what you sow.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, right? Whatever. What they say growing up, what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
And it's not always necessarily what you did is going to happen back to you, but the energy of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the tipping point, has put me on the spot, was not even necessarily something I did. The tipping point for me was who everyone else was becoming that was around me, towards me. Like, I felt it. Like, some of my closest guy friends at the time, like they knew some stuff, or they heard some stuff, or they whispered amongst each other. And I'm like, these are my closest dudes, like my boys. So I'm like, where do we go in our relationship to where they got to converse amongst each other, where they can't just come and tell me? But I had to step back after a couple months of really getting the emotion out of it and say, okay, who did I become where they feel like they couldn't talk to me no more? Like, was I unapproachable? Like, hey, D, you move in a certain way.
Yeah.
So I think it was a process of the tipping point. Like, I remember specifically when I asked you for a certain when I didn't want. Well, yeah, I did. I wanted space. I needed space, and I even wanted. I needed space for clarity, and I think it was a matter of like almost 2 years, maybe 18 months. I just remember I was just trying to get away.
Yeah, there were lots of cries for
You remember that?
that.
I wish I was bold enough or courageous enough to ask you. Like, I guess I didn't even know what I was looking for.
I mean,
You
now
remember?
looking back, I feel like you needed space to process, but it was coming out in the wrong ways. Like, you know, like almost I was being blamed
Yeah.
for you needing to take time, and then it would come out in the ways of like, I just need a guy's weekend, or
Very manipulative.
yes.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. And this is good because it's hard. It can be hard just to ask for what we want, right? And also, that would have been very hard for me to receive. Like, do you want space because you want to break up? Like, we're married. Like, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Right? So that can also be misinterpreted by a spouse. But now that we've gone through this process and looking back, I can see why you needed space. And it wasn't a break from our marriage and to not be married. It was you had some serious things that you needed to just work through.
Yeah, big time. I definitely did. It was just well, you don't know because you're perfect.
You always say that.
Well, you are. When you can't
I
like
got my
look in the
flaws,
mirror.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I think of, someone that needs an intervention.
Yeah.
An alcoholic, a drug addict, the family intervenes, they need to go away to rehab. That doesn't mean that person doesn't want their family.
Right.
It doesn't mean they don't want their kids, they don't want their spouse. They literally need to be in another environment to deal with and to process.
Because remember, and this is even, like, you remember, I was even trying to figure out Devin's schedule, right? For those of you who are just now watching, we discussed in a few episodes, Devin, our 6-year-old, Kaitlyn's not his biological mom. But do you remember I was trying to figure out how to call Devin's mom about the schedule? And like, man, I'm going to get away. I need a minute. It wasn't, usually when you hear that, again, usually I'm going off American movies, okay? It's culture. I'm not saying anyone does this, but the guy want to get away for a dude's weekend to screw around and be a man or whatever. For me, I mean, I think you knew that too. I legit wanted to go to some type of center. I needed some help. I knew I needed help.
Yeah.
And this was a year or so before everything came out. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was really, and I still don't even know if I answered the question.
Yeah.
But I just.
What was the tipping point? I think you said
Yeah.
2 things. Sorry, not to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, it's good. You're good. At tipping point, looking back, I'm happy that it became public. Like, that was the push. Like, I remember my grandma saying a long time ago, boy, if you don't go find God, he going to come find you. And I had some warnings, I had some divine moments, like in moments I shouldn't have been in and you would call me, or moments I shouldn't have been in and you would text me, or your intuition is out of this world, which is the best thing for me. It protects me from me, truthfully. So I had some moments, this is my point, where I could have, but the Lord's like, all right, you're not listening. Here we are. Let's kick down the door then. I was knocking DaJuan, and now we're going to bust the door, and he did.
Yeah.
Thank God, by the way.
Okay, so it sounds like your tipping point, I took 3 things. Your closest association started to view you differently.
Yeah.
And you were conscious of their viewing me differently.
Yeah. Oh, I watched the whole thing for like 6 months.
So it's almost like you couldn't mask it anymore. It started to become revealed. The second was, it was hard to look at yourself in the mirror. And the third was just that divine intervention, just those moments.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the main one being it became public.
Yes.
I had no choice.
Right. Okay. So what is the hardest part about facing yourself in that moment?
You know, I think of that acronym BLAME I always talk about,
Mm-hmm.
because looking at me isn't easy.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the truth. It wasn't the guilt or the shame. It was more of, dang, D, this is who you became? It was more of that. Excuse me.
You're perfect. Like you always say to me.
It was it was everything I swore not to be. So it was really like, all right, this is who you became. I don't know where. Looking back, I do now. I don't know why. Looking back, I do now. But this is who you became.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could become this, you could become this.
Mm.
So it wasn't what I did. It's still, to this day, it's not anything I did, because I'm a human being and we fall short.
Yep.
But when it's a cycle, I'm like, okay, why though?
Yeah.
When you don't want those actions.
Mm.
Like, I'm in the moment, like, this is suicide. I'm in the moment, like, on my phone. Like, well, you're gonna call me so dumb. Honey, I would like be on my phone inappropriately, whether it's a texting or FaceTiming with someone, or someone I shouldn't be FaceTiming with at a time I shouldn't be, or watching pornography or whatever I was doing on my phone. Inappropriate. I legit would tell myself, well, she's gonna be able to screenshot this, and I'm still engaged in it. It was that. It was like, bro, this who you became? Like, you don't even care. And the truth is, I think I was looking for a reason to have you leave me.
Yeah. The unworthiness feeling.
Yep.
Unworthiness, self-sabotage.
I don't think I wanted to be married. I wanted you, the idea of marriage, because that's what we're supposed to do. I'm in love with my wife, always have been. But I think, again, maybe because I never seen it, like the ending of the marriage.
Mm-hmm. Marriage is a responsibility.
Yeah, big
and
time.
it's work, and you were probably at a place where, yeah, you didn't know if you could take on the responsibility of marriage.
Truthfully, if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I wanted to anymore. Not anymore. You know, you're happy-go-lucky, honeymoon stage.
Mm-hmm.
One day it just hit me like, bro, you are confined. And I think it was something little. I'm gonna really try to give you a genuine answer. It was something small, but I had to run it by you. And with arrested development and mommy issues, and I'm not obviously misogynistic. I just felt the way about. By the way, when you gotta say you're not something, that means you are. So I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm not, by the way, not even a little bit. I have 6 sisters, right? I think that, amongst many other things, I just felt confined. I don't know. And to this day, I mean, hence our journey, we're on our healing and our therapist and all that. I don't know. I just knew I didn't want to be married anymore.
Mm-hmm. So then what changed? Because we are married.
Yeah.
And you say you're happy.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
When did that change?
Which part?
Going from wondering if you wanted to be married to now you're married.
I mean, over time, you know, we'll have our moments, right? Like, and it's so childish. Like, when we would fight, I'm like, see, that's why I don't want to be married. But then when we're great, we're great. We're traveling the world, you know, our life. We travel the world. We get friends, parties, galas, fun. So I think it was just a bad excuse to myself, like, to have bad behavior, along with something to fall back on if I pushed you out the door. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mix
And
of all that.
it is a defense mechanism
Yeah, totally.
that I can relate to as well.
Yeah.
You know, coming from a series of broken homes and multiple divorces in my parents' lives and grandparents.
Yeah.
I would catch myself all the time, you know, well, if we don't work out, here's what I'm going to do next. And for me, it was very natural to have that thought process because I saw so many marriages not work out.
Me too.
But at my core, I was like, but I want us to work.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember getting really good advice from one of our pastors, and they told me, I was like, I don't want to be married again. And they said, then fix this one. Why are you already worried about what's going to happen in the next marriage if that comes along or not?
Good looking out, Pastor. I needed that alley-oop.
Fix this one.
I needed that alley-oop,
you know,
man.
and we've talked about a lot. Like for me, the reassurance from you was you really did show up and you proved you wanted to put in the work and fix it. And
There's my answer. You
Okay.
just answered it for me.
Okay.
Now you just brought it to me. That's when I knew, because I didn't consciously take any of those actions. I mean, yeah, I shouldn't say like I did. I consciously sought help and went after it, but that let me know that, oh, bro, you do want to be married. This is your woman, not my wife, not my best friend. This is your woman, bro. She is yours. God gave her to you. Like marriage is a covenant. Like no, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. What's going on right now?
Like a wake up call.
Yeah, it was like maybe 10 days or so went by. I'm like, wait, what? Because it was worse than I thought. That's the truth. I didn't, you know, rumors get piled on stuff. You know, I'm like, okay, great. But I'm like, wait, what is going on? Because I'm hearing stuff about me that I didn't know about me. So I wasn't worried about that because I can overcome rumors because you got proof and all that. But it was more so, this is happening? Like, this is a real thing? Okay. Where's my wife? When I woke up, I was, at the other house. Like, what? So it was that. It was that realization.
The takeaway is real. Okay. You mentioned something a little bit ago, too, about, reaping and sowing. Okay?
Yep.
Or sowing and reaping.
Yeah.
There's also vows and judgments.
Okay.
So when we make vows like, I can't believe how that person's raising their child. I'll never raise my child that way.
Yeah.
You have to be careful
Yeah.
what you vow because you're so focused on that's actually what can come back.
Yeah.
So we have to repent of vows and judgments. And I caught that in what you were saying a few moments ago. And so these are all things just to be consciously aware of, right? Okay, so next question. Did you ever feel like you were beyond forgiveness, even from God? And if so, how did you fight off those feelings?
If we're going to start with the Lord, no, because I'm aware of Psalm 51. I mean, I went to Christian school growing up. So that's the best part, truthfully, going through all this, my foundation. By the way, I wasn't Christian at all our entire marriage, not even a little bit, not even the previous dozen years before that. I remember exactly where I stopped going to church and all that. So I'm not the feel-good Christian with morals and character integrity, but as a child, I went to Christian school. So the foundation is there, which is great. I knew where to go back to. And that even says that in Proverbs, like train them up young. So when they do stray away, they know to come home.
That's right.
And that literally happened. So I knew to go to the Lord because that's literally what he died for is our sins. And we don't deserve anything from God. So so that alone, I was good with that. I knew I would get some, I knew I could get to a place with the Lord. I just really, if you want to know, I prayed for mercy, which is different from forgiveness. Yes. I listen, Lord, I messed up. I don't deserve nothing good from this. I need I need mercy though.
That's right.
Mercy is you don't deserve nothing, but I'm gonna give it to you.
That's right.
So it was
to me, mercy means space to give grace.
Please.
and space to witness changed behavior.
100%.
Because if you just cut somebody off and they're doing the work, you're never going to see change behavior. It takes mercy.
Yeah. Good point. And that's where I was asking for mercy from him, for you, or from you. I didn't care about nothing or no one else. It was more of my wife. Like, I didn't want to see my kid. I was ashamed to see my kid because he was asking where you were. Oh, man, I'm really about to tear up. He was, yeah. Next question.
Okay.
What was the question again?
Did you feel like you were worthy of forgiveness?
I felt that.
And how did you fight off thoughts of not being forgivable?
Yeah, because the enemy's powerful. The devil's very, very powerful. The enemy's very powerful. It's funny, people say
God is more powerful.
Way beyond, right? Like some of my friends, they say, "Well, I'm not really religious. I'm spiritual." I say, "Yeah, so is the devil." So
Say it again.
It's a spiritual force, man. And I had some thoughts. I'm not gonna lie to you, but to answer you, I did not feel worthy just because of human responses. That's how we are. But as some time went by, I said, "Nah, I'm okay. Maybe I'm not worthy from the past, but let me show actions moving forward that I'm worthy for you to take a shot on me."
Okay, which is actually my next question.
Okay.
So this is good.
Yeah.
You're going there naturally.
Yeah.
Is what lies did guilt make you believe about yourself as a man?
Mm-hmm.
And did you start questioning your worth, your calling, your future?
You've been writing these questions down for a minute, huh? You've been holding on to these?
Yes.
Ask the first one again.
What lies did guilt make you believe about yourself as a man?
That I wasn't a man. And part of that's not really a lie. It's kind of true at that time. Running around like a little boy. So I wasn't. But that I wasn't worthy of you in the first place. It's better this way. I could probably move back to the neighborhood I grew up in anyway. Because I always yearned for the neighborhood. But that's comfort. Bingo. That's what exactly I was about to say. It's comfort to go back to where I could act up, and it's okay because everyone's acting up. So it was those type of things, and that's what makes us self-sabotage.
Right.
And I was like, nah, I can't do it. I'm gonna face this head on, because you know what? 90% of people won't.
Right.
And I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it publicly.
Yeah, and you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
A verse that's been very instrumental in our healing is 1 Corinthians 13:11.
Yeah.
When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child.
But when I became a man, I put away my childish ways.
I put away my childish ways. And that for anyone could be such a way to self-reflect. You know, am I operating in who I want to become? Am I operating in the person I know I can be? Or am I operating in behavior that doesn't serve me?
100%. And truthfully, because I was defensive and upset in regards to some friendships that we had, but looking back, here's the hard truth, and I can see where, like, I wouldn't want to be my friend either. Not because of what I did though, but because who DaJuan was in practice in preaching, as far as not from the pulpit, but
the public eye.
The public eye, as a leader, as a business coach, as a mentor to some great men. It wasn't congruent with what my practices were behind the scenes.
Exactly.
So I can see, I can see why some people chose to go their own path and not associate no more, and that's okay. Like, everyone's entitled to their space, but a lot of it self-inflicted.
Okay.
A lot of it self-inflicted.
So here's a question I didn't write down, but I feel compelled to ask you.
Yeah.
We talked about a little bit ago, you questioning, do I even want to be married?
Yeah.
And the blame game was very easy, like you said, pointing at someone else. What can you say to men, or maybe even to women, that if their man is not owning what they're dealing with or what they're facing,
Oh, that's good.
and they're blaming their woman as a defense mechanism?
Yeah.
right? Well, if she wasn't on top of me, if she wasn't nagging me, I wouldn't be looking somewhere else. Or I don't even know.
Yeah.
But we went through some of that.
Yeah, we did.
And that's gaslighting, ultimately.
Okay.
What can you say to men that are maybe experiencing that childish behavior and how to just own it and work past that?
I'm going to look right at him.
Because, ladies, it's not always our fault. It's a defense mechanism.
It's not. Watch this, though. It's not. Okay, I'm happy you just said that. Because truthfully, 90%, most of it is not their fault either. The man.
Okay.
What their outward expression is some inward unhealed trauma.
Right.
It's we've learned to do it as little boys, especially if you grow up with a single mom. I'm gonna blame her. We got that from Adam. You want to trip out? I'm gonna go a little biblical real quick. Genesis 1, literally at the very end of Genesis 1, God created man and woman, and then Genesis 2, it describes how he made man and from sand and blew into his nostrils and pulled the rumen from the rib and all that. You know when men fell in the Bible? Genesis 3.
Okay. Here we are, and boom.
Like we didn't
Like
even,
no chance at all. That's funny.
like here's the whole Bible. And here's the start. We fell right here. Like and literally the rest of it has been all literally uphill from there. Literally. Just bring a little humor to this tough conversation.
That was good.
But hold on, let me get to it though. Blame. You know what Adam did as soon as the Lord called him out?
Oh, I know. Talk about it.
The Lord said, "Where art thou?" And he's like, "Well, we hide." You know what I mean? So, long story short, short story long. When you fast forward, he's like, but God is like, "Hey, man, I said don't eat from this." And you know what Adam said? I got it from the woman whom you gave me. Like, you gave me her.
I didn't ask for her.
Shorty came from you. And it's funny. Probably wasn't funny in that garden. But we're still doing the same thing now. Like the Lord gave me Kaitlyn. I've been with, we got married at what? Earl 31? We were 31 when we got married. So you can imagine, had partners before 31. I married one of them.
Right.
So it was more of, I'm gonna look at the fellas. It's inner healing that we gotta do, and I'm being very surface. We got a bunch of episodes and we talk deep on all that, but we gotta take a back seat and remember that the woman is here as our helpmate, because that's what it says in Genesis 2.
Yes.
I'm gonna make her as your helper, bro. Like you need some help, and that don't mean I need help. So you gotta wash the dishes. What I really had to realize is, oh my gosh, I've been getting it wrong this whole time. My wife is my helpmate, meaning you check my blind spots.
100%.
Honey, don't be around when you're mentoring and it's late night. It's cool, the team is there, but like if it's 1 a.m. and it's on people's stories, it should be guys sitting next to you, not women. That's not a jealous wife. That's a wife covering her husband because of public perception and private temptation. And so
100%.
It comes off as nagging because half of it might be true. Like I might want to be next to the girls. You see what I mean? Because I'm getting validation.
Right.
Because as a man, I feel important because these pretty ladies want to listen to me. Wow. Fire. Set the mold. Fire pit. There's guys there too. But it's more of, I feel cool.
And for you, it was lack of attention as a child. So that shows up in seeking validation and attention from the opposite sex.
And when it's uncontrolled, it fastly goes a direction it shouldn't.
Right.
And fastly. Like fast. Like it's crazy how it can happen. So yeah. Hope I answered. Did I answer?
That was good. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. It's not nagging. She's our helpmate to check our blind spot. That's what, and we're not aware of it though.
Yeah. And I know for myself, and I'm sure for many women out there, like our men, since we're little girls, we envision the wedding and the Prince Charming and our dream man. And so we want to do things to help our partner to be his best, look his best, act his best, not to change him, but to support him in that light. And so I think it takes a very confident man to understand that as well, right? Like, I want you to be the best version of you for us and for our family.
Right.
Okay. So here's one. How did shame show up in your behavior even after you came clean, apologized? And what I mean by that is, were you were you angry, depressed, withdrawn, reckless?
In the past, I would have been, but truth, and this is how I knew this, again, remember we talked about lies earlier. This is how I knew I did want to be married, because of how I showed up. Like, I didn't care about the shame in the sense of public perception.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wanted my wife back. So I wasn't withdrawn. I think I was probably overcompensating for the lack of presence the previous 18 months, the lack of mental presence, even physical presence. But I understand the question, because here's why most people actually separate and don't stay together, because of that.
Right.
Just not having the strength or even the courage. What's courage? To act in spite of fear. Because I was scared, but I'm going to act regardless, right? Not having the courage to face it. Like, the truth is, like, my friends, my partners, and some of the stuff they went through, I'm thinking of 3 specific situations. They would still be with her, their woman at the time. She didn't leave because they all cheated. Literally, all of them left because of the lack of effort moving forward and the lies.
Right.
The lack of conversation. I'm like, bro, just face it head on.
Mm-hmm.
If I could go back in time to tell it, just face it head on, dude.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
And it takes you humbling yourself, doesn't it?
Yeah. Humbling. So it wasn't really shame I was worried about. It was, how do I need to come out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the first step you took to healing your heart?
By the way, how many more questions do we have?
Maybe like 3 good ones.
All right. Okay. I'm bring my anxiety down.
And by the way, I had like 15 questions. I think we've only got through a few.
Okay.
We'll talk about a couple off air.
All right. We'll do a part 2 or something one day, maybe 10 years from now. Okay. What'd you just ask?
I think this is so powerful because you really have done the work.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first step you took to healing your heart? Because I got to fix my marriage. I got to fix relationships. I got to ask for forgiveness. There's a lot. But your heart, what are the first steps you took in healing you and your heart? And let me add something while you think. I remember there were so many times where you would say, I'm going to get better. It's going to make me emotional. You were like, I'm going to get better for us. And I would tell you, don't get better for us. Get better for you.
Yep.
You need to heal.
Yep.
So what are the first steps in that?
What I personally did, I could only go by my personal experience. I went and got a psych eval. I legit thought I was crazy.
You did.
I did. Remember that?
And when you told me, I went, oh, this explains a lot.
I called my buddy. I won't say his name because he looked out for me. I called my buddy to get a psych eval at UCLA. And I was like, dude, am I crazy? Am I anxious? Do I have depression? And I won't say out loud what it was clinically diagnosed, but I had an issue. I knew I did. Mental issue. You asked how I hit my heart. I was like, because you know how they say it goes from your head to your heart? I'm like, I got to heal. I got to figure it out first, right?
Yeah.
So how I look at it is you can heal what you never reveal. And I just kept a lot of stuff close to the chest, legit. Before I even met you, you know what I mean? Like, this is way beyond us as a married couple. I just been dealing with stuff. So I went and got a psych eval. And then right from there, I contacted a pastor. Amazing, beautiful couple. And they directed me to another ministry who specializes in, healing the heart and getting some help with not just infidelity. I mean, I kept something a secret for about 25 plus years. And I just know that a lot of my behavior, I'm going to be very specific and explicit, sexual behavior or non-sexual behavior, come from just childhood things that happened to me. It's just, I didn't want to face it. And I knew getting counseling, all that later, I would have to face it. So I just didn't want to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I went and got some help at the retreat center and and that's why I say, okay, I got to go through this. If I brought this upon me, no matter where it come from, I'm the adult and I'm the genesis of it. Okay, how many other people are going through this?
Right.
And then in this culture that we live in, I hate the cancel culture. I hate it. You know what? It's actually very demonic. And I hate it. That's why I feel bad for people who stop talking to me. And I don't mean that arrogantly. I'm like, bro, like, don't ever talk to me. I'm cool with that. But for you to go to heaven, there's got to be some forgiveness in there, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in red writing in the Bible. That's the words of Jesus Christ. So I'm like, okay, for one, let's cancel culture, for one. But for two...
Hashtag cancel culture.
Just made that up on the spot, huh? Hashtag cancel culture. I said, okay, I want to bring this back to California. And not that you got to be in California, you can fly out like we did. But that's why we decided to start our marriage retreats for couples and millennials, Generation Z, people behind us. Because today's marriage is different from our parents and let alone our grandparents. It's just different. It's things are more accessible. Mm-hmm. People work home with their spouse, right? Like my grandpa, he would go to work at 6 a.m. and wouldn't talk because it wasn't cell phones. You know when he talked to my grandma? When he got home at 6 or 7, 8 p.m. The kids could have been killed. The dogs. And he'd come home from work. Down. The house burned. He wouldn't know until he got home. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, honey, I know. In 2 hours, I know everyone you talk to. I know everyone you're on Zoom with. There's no distance. There's no space. And I'm not complaining about that. But human nature is human nature. It's like we don't even get to miss each other. Yeah. I know, you go off to work, I know everything you shared with me on social media. So my point is, we say, okay, how do we modernize healing the hearts, keeping couples together? Because we believe in reconciliation, restoration, and redemption. We believe in that. That's scripture, and we believe in, and we live in it now, which is great. So shame on us to go through it and not bring it back. So sorry if I got off topic, but that's what I did. The psych eval that you're aware of. And then I contacted a pastor who contacted another pastor who got me a late spot for the ministry to get some extensive one-on-one work for a couple of weeks. And from there, I came home. Obviously, I didn't see you. I came back to California to the other house, and you called me. And I was so happy you called me. And you're like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm booking a flight. She's like, where? I was like, I'm booking a flight. You remember that? Mm-hmm. And I had to go. I had to get out of here. Yeah. So I went across the world from California to the Middle East, man, and Africa and Europe. I wanted to go to Egypt, and so I did. Right. I had to go find some whatever. I don't even know, but I was called to Egypt. I just knew I had to go to Egypt.
You were searching.
I was searching. I had to go to Jerusalem. Right? I was like, I want to just go there and touch the soil, and it's a silly time to do it because of the wars and all that. So I'm like, okay, maybe not, right? But I had to go to Rome. Went to Rome, the Vatican, anything. And I'm going to leave that comment right there. But anyway, I just knew where scripture came from. So I wanted to go touch that soil and deep dive in it. I spent a lot of time there. For like the whole summer. It felt like it wasn't, but it felt like the whole summer. What's the worst time to go to Egypt to? July. Was it July? June?
Yeah,
August?
Triple digits.
111 there is like 190 here. Oh my goodness, it was nuts.
Which we would be dead.
Oh my goodness. But I got to see some Coptic Christian museums, some scrolls. I had to convict myself on the Lord. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Not that I was atheist
what it did for
or a
you.
non-believer, but I had to go touch the Lord where he actually walked. So I went to the cavern. It's a cave where Joseph and Mary took baby Jesus when he was left from King Herod because they were trying to kill all the boys under age 2. So I just had to go become spiritual, like deep in my spirit, but not just for saying that because our culture says that we're all spiritual. But I wanted the scriptures to be connected with it. So not everybody could do that, of course, but that's what I did. And then I came home and I knocked on your door in your bedroom.
You did?
I did. That was weeks, though. That took a minute, huh?
Took
Actually,
time.
from the retreat, that was about 2 months. That was a minute. It took a minute.
Yeah.
It took a minute. Yeah, it took a minute.
And in that moment, it wasn't just easy acceptance, arms wide open. I mean, we were still dealing with some stuff.
I have faith in the Lord to restore and strengthen us. On the spiritual side, on the human side, I just knew I was coming home to separation papers, or I won't say the other word, but the D word papers. I just knew it. Again, not because what I did was quote unquote all that, but it was more of you've been through too much and you deserve better. And you told me a close girlfriend of yours, and I was so pissed off when you told me, but I'm so happy she said that. Really close girlfriend of yours, at one point, one of our closest friends. In San Diego, she said to you, you deserve better. And I was so mad when you told me she said that. I was pissed. But here's the truth, you did. But where most people go wrong is they think that means you need to go find somebody better. No, right. I made a decision. You know what? She do deserve better. I'm going to go become better.
That part.
That don't mean you got to leave me and get someone else better. No. I'm going to become it right now.
That's right. And you have.
Yeah.
And
I'm happy she told you that. I was mad, but that was a mature response.
And you were mad because it was the truth. And it hurt.
That's probably really why I was mad, truthfully. So if you're watching this, you know you are. I love you. But it was the truth. It was the 100%. You definitely deserve better. Yeah. Like that, it wasn't even a conversation, of course. So yeah.
And you know, yeah. I make jokes with you now. The other day we were in Florida. I said, babe, I loved you at your worst.
That's true.
So you better believe I'm gonna love you at your best.
Woo!
I love the broken version of you.
But by the way, that's funny, honey.
So imagine loving the healed version of you.
No, but and women who want to stay with their men, that's important. I'm gonna give you a whole episode on that. I'm gonna do the same interview with you. Okay. We just made it up on the spot. I'm gonna interview you on why you stayed or why you should stay. Fellas, I got you. Trust me.
I got a lot to share.
Oh yeah, because that confidence you had. Oh, dude, that's the spark that said, okay, we got this. You were like, honey, I loved you at your worst, and you did. And I had a realization, oh my God, this innocent woman fell in love with the most broken side of me. Oh, I'm beating on my chest now. She don't even know who she about to be in love with. I'm about to be the best. I'm back to flowers. I'm back to opening the car door. I'm back. Like that gave me a whole, like, I get juiced up
New
right
life.
now. Yeah, that was, but that's a nugget to the ladies who want to stay. Don't want to stay and keep reminding him of how much of a dirtbag he is. If you want to stay, y'all make this commitment, because you stand, you're going to lose friends too.
Yeah. Because
you went and talked to these girls and they tried to talk you out of it. Now you stay, they're going to be like, oh, she's dumb for staying.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because it's from the outside perspective. If a man cheats on a woman and the woman stays, it's viewed as, oh, she's so weak. And the truth is, you have no idea the amount of strength it takes. Now, I'm not saying be a doormat and his behavior could be repetitive and you keep taking it.
No.
We've only worked because of changed behavior.
That's it.
And
I couldn't be the same person.
It's not weak to stay if your man's willing to do the work to change. It is
strength to stay.
And to really, truly let things go.
Yeah.
I think you do need to ask me some questions, because the journey of healing and forgiveness and moving forward, I mean, it takes work, but it's so freeing.
Yeah.
It's really so freeing. Like, why would you want to stay in those feelings? Why would you want to keep reminding your spouse of the things they did to hurt you? Like, that means you need to heal personally.
Right.
Because the truth is, I can't, and you've done a great job at redemption and restoration and fighting for us. but I couldn't only heal and forgive if you provided it. I had to go get that for me.
That's true too.
And that takes work and
Yeah.
effort.
Because I remember how, not anti, but how I went to a retreat, a church retreat, and you knew of it, the church retreat, way before I even thought of it.
Yeah.
So I ended up beating you there, and then I come back all healed up, and you're like, hold on. Like,
I was skeptical.
yeah, you were skeptical.
Like, oh,
but
one
then,
retreat and everything changes.
right. But then you went and you're like, oh, one retreat and everything changes.
Because it did for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And at that
That was
retreat,
powerful.
I went wondering, do I have what it takes to fight for our marriage?
Yeah.
And I realized there were things in me I needed to heal. And there were patterns in my life that I had cycled through that allowed me, we can't blame our marriage situation 100% on you. Did you have some deep rooted things you brought? Yes. But also I had cycles and patterns in my life that truthfully allowed me to tolerate it for so long.
That's true,
So
too.
I needed to do the work there to set firm boundaries.
That's deep right there.
It takes two.
Oh, that's going to be an episode. We just made up an episode, y'all, on the spot. That's going to be good. Let's knock these out. Let's go 2 more.
All right, 2
Got
more.
a little bit of time.
All right, last 2. What would you say to a man right now who feels like his life is over because of shame? What's the first thing he needs to do?
I'm going to say something. It's not a joke. Like, I'll say this. For one, if he got weapons in the house, get rid of the weapons. I went there mentally.
That's real.
I went there mentally. It was the darkest.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say. I'm going to not talk about that because my son is a kid. And I'm sure he'll see this one day. But I'll say this. Brother, I'll say this. Brother, if you can own it, God can heal it.
You got me.
I'm going to leave that right there.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's real. Okay, last one for today.
Okay.
I've seen you use failure to fuel your faith. And it's really been inspiring as your wife, as your friend, to see. So now that you've been through the guilt and the shame,
Yeah.
who is the man that you're becoming?
I hate that this is on camera. I'm probably making the ugliest faces right now. You know when you cry,
I
you
can't
like...
believe I didn't get a box of tissues.
I know, right? You know when you cry, you look ugly.
Ugly cry.
Um,
And you're crying, making me cry.
I'll tell you who I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm looking forward to being that man. That man that says that my wife is proud to say, yeah, that's my husband. Because right now, it's easy to say, wow, she's still with him. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to that. But let me tell you that's how great I want that man to be, and he's going to be. But more importantly, he's going to be so great of a man. He's going to look back and see him running to him.
Wow.
And I'm looking forward to that man looking down to that young man and says, I'm proud of you. That 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 100-year-old me looking at the 35-year-old me saying, I'm so happy you didn't pull that trigger. And I'm proud of you. That's what I'm looking forward to. It's going to be awesome.
Yes.
It's going to be great. Just so y'all know, I'm coming back with way better questions because this was rough, honey. This was something else.
You know, I think that's a healing exercise in itself. Is if you're going through things,
Yeah.
Envision the future version, right? The future version of you,
That's right.
and just know they're gonna be so proud that you got through it.
Yep. I'm gonna end this episode.
Let's do it. Because now I'm crying.
I'm gonna do it. Talk with a message to my brothers.
Okay.
And really my sisters too, because women mess up.
Yeah, that's true.
Women mess up. People mess up. It don't even have to be infidelity, but things happen in a marriage.
Yes.
What you don't heal, you can never reveal. If you can own it, God can heal it. You're better than the worst thing you've ever done. And all you need is the Lord and your spouse to believe in you, and nobody else matter.
Ooh.
You got this.
Amen.
We got this?
We got this, babe.
Millennials in marriage.
We are millennials in marriage.
Woo!
Dang.